Hello and welcome to Henrietta Hawk. Here she is. This is Henrietta, and she is a hawk. Hey, she's hungry. Hey, this is an on your own problem, so you should have solved the entire problem on your own, and now you're watching this video to make sure you did everything correctly. And here is your scenario. Henrietta Hawk flew 15.25 kilometers in search of food. She finally found a tasty snake which she had for dinner. If there are 1.6 kilometers in a mile, how many miles did Henrietta Hawk have to fly in order to eat? Alrighty, so let's take a look at the facts here. And we've got 15.52 kilometers, and that's how far Henrietta Hawk flew in search of food, right? And we know that there are 1.6 kilometers in a mile, right? So we're going to divide 15.25 divided by 1.6. Now I want my divisor to be a whole number, so the first thing I've got to do is multiply this by the giant 1. Sorry, Henrietta, I'm covering right over you. I didn't mean to. But I need to multiply this by 10 in order to turn this into 16. So I'm going to multiply by 10 right here, and that means that I got to multiply the numerator, because this is my denominator, and this is my numerator, and if I want it to be 1, they have to be the same number. So this has to be 10, and this has to be 10. And that's going to give me some new numbers here with the exact same value, which is what I'm really looking for. So I've got 155.2 on the top, right? That's being divided by 16. And that means we're ready to rock and roll, right? But before I do, let's just go ahead and show you what happens with this number if you did it with the original division, right? So I'm going to make a area box here, right? And then I'm going to put the 15.25 in here. So I'm going to do 15.25, right? And then on the outside, I've got the 1.6, right? And now normally I teach kids, do one loopy-doop over here. I use the word loopy-doop just because the word is silly enough that kids are going to remember it. And if you do one loopy-doop here, you have to do one loopy-doop here, so your decimal would change one spot, right? And what you're really doing is multiplying by 10 here, right? And by 10 here. So it's really the same thing, but this really doesn't explain why you're moving that decimal and why you get to move both without changing the value. Here, by multiplying by the giant 1, you can see that you're moving the decimal without changing the value. So let's get on and do our real problem, and I'm going to get rid of this stuff so we got a clean slate to work with. And here we go. I took the 155.2, put that inside my area box, and my divisor, 16, I put right out here. So now I got a little bit more room to work, and I'm looking at 16 going into 155.2. Now the 16 will not fit into 1. It will not fit into 15, so I've got to come all the way over here to the 155, which means I'm going to hold my place value by putting a decimal here and a 0 here, and then 0 times 16 will give me a 0 here, and I'm going to drop my decimal because with area division you just line up your decimals like the buttons of a shirt, right? So now I'm going to use 2 as my estimation, so I'm going to bump this up, actually not to 2 but to 20, right? So 16 is going to get bumped up to 20, which is why I have my 2's written right here. And now I'm going to imagine that each of these digits has a 0 behind it, and I'm going to try and get to 155 or close there, right? So I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160 is too much. So I'm going to come back here to 140, which means I'm going to multiply by 7. So I'll plug a 7 right in there. And let's just go ahead and do that. And now I'm working with the real numbers, right? 7 times 6 is going to give me 42. I'm going to drop the 2 and carry the 4. So I drop the 2 right there. And I'm going to carry the 4 right over there. And then I've got 7 times 1, which is 7, plus 4 is going to give me 11, right? So I'm going to drop my 11, and then I'm ready to subtract. Before I do, I always like to look for trouble coming. I got no trouble here, none here, none here, and none here. So I am good to go. I'm going to add my next area box right here, and then just do my subtraction. 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. I'm going to drop that decimal. 5 minus 2 is going to give me 3 right here. And then 5 minus 1 is going to give me 4 right here. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out. Now, let's take a look here. If I look here, I can see that 16 can fit into 43 again, can't it? So I'm still working in this column. So I'll put a place value holder here. I'll put a 0 here with the decimal, which means I'll get a 0 here and my decimal there. And now I'm looking at 16 going into 43. And as you see, I can go 20, 40, and then 60 is too much. So I can multiply by 2 and get 40 here. So I'm going to plug another 2 right in here, and then I'll work with the real numbers, right? So 2 times 6 is going to give me 12. I'm going to drop my 2 and carry my 1 right here. And then I've got 2 times 1 is going to give me 2, plus this 1 is going to give me 3. So I got a 3 right there, and then I'm going to get ready to subtract. Now before I do, I got to look and see if I got any trouble coming. I got no trouble, no trouble, and no trouble. So I am good to go. I'm going to add my next area box right in here, and there we have it. And 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. I'm going to drop my decimal like the buttons of a shirt. 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1 right here. And then 4 minus 3 is going to give me another 1 right there. So I've got 112 or 11.2, right? So, but now for the purposes of this, I'm looking at 16 going into 112. So, once again, I'm going to come back up here to my 2's and imagine that these are, each has a 0 behind it, right? So I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, which is too much. So I'm going to multiply by 5 and plug a 5 right there. But the 5 is really a 0.5, isn't it, right? So I've got in this column now I'm working with the real numbers. 5 times 6 is going to give me 30 right here. So I'm going to drop the 0 and carry the 3 over here. And then I've got 5 times 1, which is 5, plus 3 is going to give me 8. So let me enlarge this a bit and plug my 8 in there. And then I'm going to drop the decimal because I'm lining them up like the buttons of a shirt, and also because this 5 is really a 0.5, right? So now I'm ready to subtract. Before I do, I like to look for any trouble coming. I've got no trouble here, and really none here because I can count this as 11 instead of just 1. So let's go ahead and add my next area box in there, and bam, there we have it. 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2, and 11 minus 8 is going to give me 3, right? And then I'm going to drop that decimal, so I've got the decimal right there. And now I'm going to look here and go, hey, 16 can fit into 32 again, right? So I happen to know it'll go in there exactly 2 times, but if I stick with my estimation, then I'm not going to be able to do that because this would be 20 and then 40. So I'm going to add a 1 up here, even though I know it's going to be a 2. If you put a 2 there, you're good to go. Don't worry about it. But we're going to do it with the 1 because that's the way I've got the estimation set up. So 20 would be good, but 40 would be too much, right? So let's go ahead and put a 0.1 right there. And 1 times 16 is going to give me 16 here. And then I'm going to just drop the decimal, and then I'm going to add my next area box. Actually, before I do that, I need to look for trouble coming, right? And I got trouble coming, so I'm going to borrow from the 3, turn the 3 into a 2, and turn this 2 into 12, and then I'm good to go. So now I will add my next area box right here, and then I get 12 minus 6 is going to give me 6. I'm going to just drop that decimal, and then 2 minus 1 is going to give me 1. And as you see, 16 will fit in there, as I said, exactly 1 more time. So I can just put another 0.1 right there, and then 1 times 16 will give me another 16 down here. Let's go ahead and do that. I got the 16, and then I put my decimal because I'm lining those up. 1.6 minus 1.6 is going to zero out, isn't it? So now I'm all good to go other than adding this up, right? So I'm going to add up in this direction here. And in my ones column, I got 7 and 2 is going to give me 9. I'm going to just bring up my decimal there. And then I'm going to bring 5 plus 2 is going to give me 7. And that right there, my friends, is your answer. Now, let's figure this out with the problem again, right? So you have Henrietta Hawk here, and she's traveling looking for food, and she does find a snake, but she has to go 15.52 kilometers. And if each mile is 1.6 kilometers, then we got to figure out how many miles she went. Well, that's divided. 15.52 divided by 1.6 means that Henrietta Hawk flew 9.7 miles to find her food. And that right there, my friends, is your answer. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Simply pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon. And now, on to counting by the numbers. This is a great strategy for anybody who does not have all their multiplication facts memorized. Counting by threes. Ready? Here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Counting by fours. Ready? And 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Counting by sixes. Here we go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. Counting by sevens, here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And counting by eights, here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Counting by nines, here we go. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90.